is it's a clip of an interview from the 80s. I would assume somewhere around early to mid 80s of a dude, a young dude, I would say a younger dude that is, seems like a well-to-do guy, who kind of got hooked on crack cocaine.
Bad one, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he speaks candidly about the addiction and just the high of it, and how, like, even though he knows how bad it is for him, he loves it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's jump right into it. I guess we'll stop it here or there or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
We'll like stop and go.
All right.
My first 9 months in using crack has been one of, how could I say, complete madness. My first 9 months in using crack, I spent over $50,000, which included...
Say that again. Said the first 9 months.
Raise the volume on that.
Crack cocaine. He spent $50,000.
Huh?
He said his first 9 months of using crack cocaine, he spent $50,000.
Yeah.
It really, there was a lot of money in that drug game, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The ultimate high of crack cocaine is supposed to last between like 8 to 10 minutes. And then it's supposed to be structured to be so addictive that as soon as you're done with that high, you want another one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So usually people don't have the means to support a $50,000 crack habit. You know what I mean? Man. Like when you think of crack cocaine, you think of a poor drug. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. For, a more impoverished type of neighborhood. Not, usually people that do have 50,000 a waste on drugs is probably cocaine or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Again, please. My first 9 months of involvement with crack, I've spent over $50,000.
$50,000.
$50,000.
Where did you get this kind of money from?
Well, some of it was money that I had saved up. I was currently working as an engineer for a communications firm, earning $35,000 a year. I would spend my entire paycheck in one night on crack. So after my pay was gone, I would go to the bank and I started to deplete my savings.
Who turned you on to crack?
An old girlfriend of mine, one evening, had invited me to take a ride with her. And we did so. And she bought some crack. And we went back to her place, and she began to smoke and asked me if I wanted to try it. So at first, I was a little bit reluctant.
All right. Question, like,
Shorty turned him out.
What is your interpretation of crack? Like,
crack equals crackhead.
Mm-hmm.
Crackhead equals sub-level human.
Have you ever had somebody in your family that used crack?
No.
See, that's why you're talking like that.
Yeah. I don't know somebody before and after. I only know the after. Like we immigrated from Haiti here, early 70s, and no one got hooked on drugs.
Yeah,
everybody just had their head on straight and was just about work and moving forward and everything like that. So it's like,
I think that's the difference between
like, so it was like either seeing crackheads and like seeing the depictions of crackheads in movies, and like hearing about the in music. They're just like, sub level humans.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna take offense to it, but you know, a lot of my family members definitely got hooked on the drug, and yeah, man, it's definitely highly addictive.
Yeah,
and I think your perspective is coming from a place of, you know, where I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think it was. I think it wasn't directly targeted for like people like your family because they weren't here. You know what I mean? They were migrating over to the States. I think it was more or less for the people that were already in the neighborhoods. You know, I might be sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but I think it was.
What was there
targeted.
before crack? What was the vice before crack? Like, what was the test study that make it seem like, okay,
Heroin.
these people, heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Heroin was the okay, but heroin was lethal.
Yeah, it was lethal.
So you wouldn't get long-term customers with heroin.
Yeah.
So crack was an improvement on the design.
Well, addiction in general, you're gonna have long-term customers, like as long as they get addicted.
No. Well, I'm talking about heroin. People died fast.
Yeah, you could OD
right
on heroin.
So like, if you could keep people alive and keep buying, so you think it was kind of more like a.
But to take it a little bit deeper, you look at a gentleman like this, who was an engineer.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Educated dude.
Yeah.
And how did he wind up running into the path of crack cocaine?
I think we're gonna see it.
You hear me? Like, but
he said he ran to a shorty. He said a shorty that he was a girlfriend, not even his wife or nothing like that. A woman that he was dating after being educated. Like you're an educated man. You've been around. He speaks well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, you know, a shorty, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
No, it happens.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, a lot of times things come with influence.
Right.
It could be a woman, it could be a friend, it could be, you know, but it comes with influence. But
yeah. You ever dealt with a shorty that put something in her nose?
Not that I know of, no.
Right.
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't think I.
Nah, I've seen it. I've been around shorties that put stuff in their nose. I don't, you know, that's not drawing me to do that.
So
you're supposed to know better.
You had dealings with somebody, like not like on a short term, but like even a midterm or long term basis that had a little bit of a habit.
Yeah, partied. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that? How was the behavior? Was it erratic? Was it?
It was just, that was their vice. You know what I mean? They didn't drink as much as I drank, but they did that and drank a little bit. And it was just, everybody got their vice. Even now, even with marijuana use, you know what I mean?
They ever try to offer you?
No, because they want they to themselves, you know what I
mean?
But even now with marijuana use, people like, you could party with people that, you know, they'll smoke more than they, you know, people drink, and some people drink more than they smoke or whatever, and some people don't smoke at all. Some people don't drink at all. But I don't know. With crack, it was just such a. I wasn't there.
See,
you know?
you're speaking after the fact. You're like, your Monday morning quarterbacking. So
yeah,
who knows that when these people initially started with this drug, when it was brand new, they like, yo, it's coke. It's a coke that gets you higher quicker. You understand what I'm saying? And coke is a party drug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To some folks, it's a party drug. Yeah. So they may have figured like, yo, this is just the new high, the new drug to get a great high for a cheaper price. Right. You know what I mean?
But then I said, all right, well, I'll give it a try. And my very first night, I believe I spent $60. The next morning, I was at the bank's door before it opened, and I spent another $400.
Tell me what it was like, that first blast.
It's unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life. It's really, there's not even any words for it to describe it. It's a feeling so intense and so pleasurable I've seen it cause people to spend their last penny. I've seen people spend their rent money, their food money.
Yeah.
That sound like didn't that shit like he made crack sound so good.
It always sounds like that.
He made it sound really good.
That's what I've heard it every time that I've heard it described. I've heard that first high is life-changing, and they're chasing that high ever since.
No, yeah.
That's the only way I've heard it explained.
I've heard about the first high.
Yeah.
But when I was in brokerage,
mm-hmm.
It was a guy. He was a Muslim.
Mm.
He's a Muslim, like Indian dude, right? His name was Muhammad Ali. Shout out to him. And he snorted coke, he did pills, smoked weed, and one day he was in the boardroom and he was like, yo, the best high is smoking crack. He said, yo, there's no high like smoking crack. Yeah. He said this.
I hear you.
And he was like, yo, I've done it all. Like I said, I ran down all the drugs that he did. Anything that was out there, he did it. Right. But he said, yo, smoking crack, that shit is the best high. And this is a kid that was probably definitely making a good, 10, 15 grand a month. You know what I mean? At least.
But he had the wherewithal to know that I have to find this somewhere else. He said he listed all those other drugs that he did because he knew that even though the best high was doing crack, he couldn't sustain doing crack over and over.
No, I don't think it was that. I think he was just talking about highs. He did drugs. And
so why not be a crackhead? Why not just keep doing crack then?
He probably was still doing crack.
Okay.
But he was probably more of a functional crackhead. You know what I mean? Where, in that industry, more or less, like you could kind of function because if you're because crack is supposed to make you sort of alert. You kind of become like an insomniac. You don't sleep and things like that. If you're upbeat and everything like that, it's supposed to be upper. Okay. And that could work for you. You know what I mean? If you could hit the phones and and you lose like all inhibition, you have increased confidence and all that shit like that, and you're like pumped up. Yeah, it could work for you.
It could definitely work for you.
Yeah. So